Welcome to the CleverBooks Augmented Classroom. Today, I would guide you through the solution and elaborate on all the opportunities that you can use when you create your Augmented Classroom account in the first place. And if you have any additional questions, you're very welcome to contact us at marketing@cleverbooks.eu. So let's start. Augmented Classroom is a SaaS platform, a comprehensive digital space where students can explore, create, and collaborate in a simultaneous multiplayer augmented reality environment. This means that as a teacher, you can facilitate different activities where students will join in your classes using a simple link or a code. Students don't need to create any accounts. The account is created only by the teacher. The Augmented Classroom is currently available in multiple languages, and you can click through to see if a language that you're using is also part of Augmented Classroom solution. If not yet, you're very welcome to reach out to us and let us know which language we could potentially add in the future to make sure that you can facilitate lessons in your native language. Otherwise, Augmented Classroom is compatible to work on any type of devices. You can facilitate lessons using Augmented Classroom on your laptop or personal computer in the web browser, where it will be simulation of augmented reality experience, teaching students within 3D learning environments. It could be a real augmented reality experience using mobile devices like tablets or mobile phones. And you can also use interactive panel to facilitate interactive activities with the content using Augmented Classroom. Also, things to remember is as part of Augmented Classroom, your students can explore pre-designed content. They can create and co-create together in groups within the augmented reality environments, and they can have collaborative activities using different tools and to learn better the subjects. So the main goal of using augmented reality in your class is to provide these engaging and immersive learning environments for students. And you don't necessarily need to add an additional software. You might say that we're currently very busy, we don't have time for trying anything new. Just try to see a bigger picture, and you can try to see how can I present different subjects in a different way, not in the old-fashioned way, traditional way as you used to, but in a more interactive way. For example, if you're teaching geography and you need to teach about different countries and subjects, you can obviously show students, for example, an atlas or a picture in the book of the world map or the world map itself or globus, or you can bring more immersive and engaging activities and show the same content using augmented reality. So let's get started. Once you create an account, a free account, you will automatically get access to 14-day free trial. In this 14-day free trial, you will have an opportunity to access all features that are currently available as part of Augmented Classroom. And today I will guide you through all the main features for you to explore so you can better understand how the solution works, and also you can use those activities more efficiently. So if we go back to subscription to start with, you can see that at this stage you will have a trial that will provide you access to all the features. Once the 14-day trial is over, your account will still remain free, but you would no longer be able to use collaborative activity or facilitate lessons for students, or have integration to your LMS system, for example, use a digital textbook activity part, or seeing which activities has been facilitated, so you can monitor and use those statistics for the reporting. In this case, for the single user account, you would be able to only explore pre-designed content as a single user and have opportunities to maybe showcase that to your students from your laptop. Now, let's go back to all the activities that you can do. When you first log in, or if you're already logged in but you were not sure where to start, your workplace is the main point where everything is located. If you're not sure about something and you're looking for guidelines, we do have a help section, and you can click on user guide, for example, and you will get access to all the information that you will need, frequently asked questions. You can contact the support or watch additional demo, and you can see that there are different sections in terms of the use of Augmented Classroom tools. For example, the create mode of Augmented Classroom, you can see that you can get access to mini videos related only to this specific topic, where you can quickly watch and see how you can start the lesson there. Now, at the same time, we do have a Discord community. You're very welcome to join because you will get access to all the latest information, all the updates, what is happening. At the same time, we provide quite a lot of information on the global tenders that are available, or grants, etc. And you will have access to the community of like-minded educators all around the world with whom you would be able to exchange experience and also see how they are applying Augmented Classroom in their class, maybe on the other side of the world. The second important part is when you start with Augmented Classroom. Obviously, you're very welcome to be creative and try to see how you can add the activities in your lesson. But if you feel that you need a little bit of help and empowerment, you're very welcome to click on the activity plans. We have an open library of activity plans that have actually been created by educators from different parts of the world. You can click on the topic that you would like to teach with augmented reality, and you can see that there is a long list of different activities that could be adopted and you can start using in your class as well. So those are the few examples. At the same time, if you would like to see more information about the curriculum outline, there is a direct link and you can read through, first of all, which skills Augmented Classroom and augmented reality technology itself helps students to develop, and also how that can supplement the STEM framework and be used for different topics that you currently teach in your class. If we talk about math, there are different topics and that you could supplement with augmented reality experience, and the create mode has a broader opportunity and for your students to have creative and co-creative projects and could supplement very different topics starting from music, history, art, etc. And there is also a collaboration mode where students can have access to gamified interactive activities and interact in groups and have maybe competitive or strategically applicable environments where they can learn much faster. Now, if we go back, also you will have the opportunity to see all the activities that have been performed by students, all the lessons that you've assigned. You can also click on the lesson. You can see how many people, how many students have performed specific tasks, how many points they received if they're, let's say, doing a specific interactive activity, or if they're doing a test, or if they're using, for example, AR Quest. I will guide you through all those tools in a minute. the time it took them to complete the activity. And obviously, as you're doing it on a consistent basis, you can also monitor students' progress, how they're developing, and also monitor their retention rate and see how well they actually performing in terms of increasing the test scores and the knowledge in the subject itself. If you are planning to use Augmented Classroom for a longer period of time, beyond the 14-day free trial, you would also probably benefit from a feature of LMS integration. Now, we hear from many teachers that they would like to have a single access to many different software that works, that integrated with the learning management system. So we provide the opportunity to integrate with just one click. All the instructions will be within the user guide on how to do that. If you have any questions, do let us know. But Augmented Classroom can be integrated to almost any learning management system that exists. At the same time, if you feel that you would like to use Augmented Classroom also for different document sharing or providing student access to different worksheets, PDF files that they have to complete, or ebooks, this would be the part of Augmented Classroom you would be using. You can upload any PDF files, any worksheets, and also by clicking here, share with your students, and the students can use write in them or draw, etc., and then submit in a digital form this worksheet for grading. Another example would be is that you can upload a book, an ebook, and then give student access to actually read that book in a digital form. So the excitement comes when we look through augmented reality tools that are currently available as part of Augmented Classroom. And this is your first place to start once you're ready to facilitate the lessons. We'll take one tool, one module at the time, and then if you have any questions, you're very welcome to reach or refer to user guide to see more individual videos about how to facilitate lessons using every tool here. So the important thing that you need to know, as you're using Augmented Classroom 14-day free trial, or if you're already using Augmented Classroom as part of the paid version, you will have the opportunity to facilitate lessons using web browser, and I will show you how that works to start with, but also you would have the opportunity to use it on the mobile devices. Everything that is related to mobile devices, you can see that you have some downloadables under every app where you can use mobile apps. So to start using geometry on your mobile devices, you first have to download the application from either Google or Apple Store. It's called IRC Geometry. And using the mobile application, you can either access your teacher account through the mobile app and facilitate lessons using the mobile devices, or if you have students who will be joining from mobile devices, you can ask them to join as a student. You will be providing them a specific code, and I'll show you how that works. And that's the way they will be getting access to interactive activities that you will be showing them. So another important point to remember is the geometry application in the mobile version works together with a marker. It's a marker-based solution. So you need to share with your students either markers. You can print them out and distribute to students, or you can also use our building block activities where students will be asked to perform a traditional activity like cutting these cubes and then putting them together, and at the same time they will have different sides of the cube with different shapes. So it's just an additional interesting activity that could be used. And then students, once the application is launched, once they join the class, they would be facing the camera of their mobile device towards the marker, which is a shape, specific shape, and will get augmented reality experience that way. If you decide to use a geometry application as a web-based interface, I will let you know how that works. So as a teacher, you click on a geometry application. As I said, you can do it either in the web browser or in a mobile device using your teacher account. You can also enter the full screen mode and have a easier navigating interface. In here, you can choose the language in which you would like to start the class for your students. Students also have the opportunity on their devices to choose the different language if they want to, let's say, explore the same content in a different language to, let's say, what you offering. So as a teacher, you would be able to begin the class. And as you can see here, there are two options of how your students can join this activity. They can either join by using the code, this 4-digit code at the top. You just let them know that the code for today's class is ZABB. And you can ask your students who are joining from mobile devices to open the mobile devices, click on Join the class, and enter this class code. After that, students would be asked to enter their nickname. We don't collect any personal data, so students are welcome to use either their name and all that data will remain as part of your account, or they can use their nicknames to join the class, as long as you know who is who. And the second option is to share with your students a link. I will show you how that works. I will share my screen and you will be able to also as a student screen, so you will be able to see what students would visualize and also the panel of you as a teacher. So I have changed now for the double window, and you can see that on the left-hand side, I have a teacher account, and on the right-hand side, I have a student account. I have clicked on copy the link, and I shared with my students that they can click on it and open it in their browser. Once the once the application is opened in the browser, the student will be asked to enter their nickname and click OK. As I mentioned, they can also select a different language if they wish. At the same time, you can see that in the teacher account, I have the opportunity to monitor how many students have joined my class, and I can see that one student have joined. So I'll be showing you today the demo when one student joins, but the same thing applies when you have 30, 40 students joining the class based on the number of licenses that you currently have. And once I see that all students have joined my class, I'm ready to broadcast the content. At the same time, students can interact with an owl game as they're waiting, and you can see they just need to click and see how many owls they can collect, because the owl is very quick, right? So you have different activities that you can perform as part of teaching geometry. First one is shapes, and as I click on shapes, you can see that the student screen automatically changes, and as we're using the web browser, I can navigate students in terms of which shape I would like to focus on. And then I can let them know that there are different options on the screen available for them to manipulate with the shape and maybe see 2D dimension, 3D dimension, to learn a little bit about fractions, about cross-section, etc. So there's a variety of activities that could be performed. And the student here can use the inquiry-based learning and explore a little bit about different shapes. Now, if your students are using mobile devices, they would have to point the camera of their mobile device once the activity is assigned to the specific marker, depending on which shape they are learning about. So if you want them to learn about hexagon, they will be asked to point the camera at the hexagon. If then you would be switching to triangle, they would have to change the marker for that as well. On the web-based interface, as you can see, it's a little bit different. So once the activity is finished, and then you can see that the student gets back to the waiting screen, because then the teacher can make a decision what other activities could be performed. So let's say that once I had my students learn about the shapes, I would like them to actually perform the individual tests. The same thing apply, I assign to class, and depending on how many students I have in my class, they would all have single access to individual tests, and I will have a list of all the students and I can see the level of their performance. Now here the student can start with a test, and they can by themselves navigate through different questions and complete the test. And I will have all the statistics as a teacher to how they performed. Now I will end the test, and we can go back to explore other activities. So for example, there is a gamification activity on geometry as well, that has the opportunity for students to see which shapes represent real-life objects. And they will be asked, obviously, in the gamification aspect, to choose the correct answers, and the levels would go harder and harder and harder as they're performing this gamified activity. And the last part that you can also explore with your students is the collaboration mode, where you can assign different activities with your students, and they can join together as part of a group. The software will divide them into a group of 3 to 4 people, and they would be able to collaboratively perform different activities. So as you can see, I'm now a single person in the team, but if you have multiple students, you will see that you have multiple people in your team. The activity is very simple. In the web-based interface, students will be asked to first of all do the additions. Let's say 4 plus 3 is 7, and it's a circle base. So I have to find number 7 circle based and put it in the correct place. In the mobile version, students will be asked to join the class using this code, and they will have to point the camera of the device at any marker. In this case, it does not matter if they're using triangle marker or hexagon marker. They would just point it at the marker, and then they can start performing the activity. And then they can use their finger to drag and drop the correct object in the correct place based on the answer that they think that is correct. As you can see, I'm now I'm now working individually, but if I had more people, you would see that how different people moving objects at the same time, and obviously the students will see the opportunity to learn to perform this activity maybe a little bit faster, and for you to facilitate a more competitive environment for students. At the same time, if you would like for them not to rush, you can say that Peter, you would be responsible, let's say, for all the circles, and Michael will be responsible for squares. Then students have clear directions and would not need to compete. So this concludes the geometry application opportunities, and you're very welcome to explore in more detail. If any questions, do let us know. Now we'll go back to the dashboard to explore geography application. In this case, if your students will be joining the class from mobile devices, you would need to either show them a world map on your screen, let's say if you're facilitating remote learning activities, or you can send them the map and they can print it at home, or you can give the printout of the map for your students to use in the class. And in this case, the students would be downloading a geography application. So to facilitate the geography lesson on the mobile devices, you would need your students to launch the IRC geography application, and they would be able to join the same way the activity as we discussed within the geometry application. You would provide them the 4-digit code. They will click on join the class, enter the code, enter the nickname, and they would be able to, they will be ready to start using it. So let's have a look at different functionality that's available as part of the geography application. The concept of the app is the same. As a teacher, you begin the class, you have the opportunity to share the code with students or the link. You can see that the link that has been provided for our students in the web-based interface for the geometry is no longer valid, and we need to provide them a different link. So I can copy the link here, and you can see that as a student now, I'm ready to join the web-based interface to learn about the geography subjects. If I'm joining from the mobile device, I would input this code and will be waiting for the teacher to start the activity as well. So if we go to continents to start with, you can see that there are multiple topics that are available currently for exploration. We can take, for example, water animals. You can see that there are different continents available here, and you just have to navigate your students and give them the direction which continent you would like them to explore. As you can see that in this case, when I click on different continents, I would not, my students would not see exactly the same thing. Again, it gives them a little bit of flexibility to explore by themselves and navigate through the application. They can zoom in, zoom out, meet the whale, and also to explore different activities. The difference here, as you can see, that as a teacher, I have all the other modes that you've seen that are available, but as a student, I see only the topic related to water animals, and I can't explore any further. This is due to the opportunity for your students to focus on a specific topic that you're performing and not to divert the excitement to explore further and maybe irrelevant topics to the lesson you're currently conducting. So now, if we come back, you can see that the plans, politic, heritage mode works in the same way. And the important thing here to remember is if your students using mobile devices, you would ask them to point the mobile device at the relevant continent. So let's say if we're exploring Australia, you would ask students to focus the camera of the mobile device on Australia, and then they will be able to access the modes that you're currently assigned to them. To go to Africa, they have to point the camera of the device to Africa. And that's how they interact within the mobile interface. So now the second part is if you would like students to explore the world map, topics related to the Earth, like different weather and layers, Earth layers, etc., you can see how students can manipulate it. They can also zoom in, zoom out, and explore different topics by themselves here as well. And once you click, for example, on the age of discovery, students will enter the mode to better understand how different parts of the world has been discovered by different explorers. There is also option to learn about insects, mini beans, solar system, etc. And all those activities, and as you can see, you can assign, and students, doesn't matter on which devices they are joining from, they can view this content. Now, if we talk about the collaborative mode where students can work simultaneously in teams, the gamification aspect is similar to what you've seen with the geometry, and we can look at a game of flags, for example. For students from the mobile devices, they need to point the camera at the relevant marker to be able to perform the activity, and using the web-based interface, it automatically shows the continent that students would be able to explore. As you can see, the software divides into teams, and students can click on Start, and they will get access to a gamification activity where they need to put the relevant flag on the relevant country. If you have one student, it's a single user interaction, but if you have multiple students, then students would be competing. You can see different colors here that students are using, multiple students interacting within the same environment. So at the same time, as a teacher, I can see the time has been spent and the progress of how my students are performing a specific activity. And the last but not least, there are also multiple gamification like related to heritage, related to animals, and don't forget that you can also choose the language, and the content of this geography application would also be presented to students in different language. The next is space application. So if you would like your students to use mobile devices, you would need to provide them with a poster. They can print it out or use it in a digital format, and the students would have to download CleverBooks space application in order to interact with the solution on the mobile device. The concept is the same. Point the camera of the mobile device towards the marker, and then students will get access to all interactive activities. For the web-based interface, you can facilitate the lessons for students in the web browser, as we discussed, and as you saw how that works for geometry and the geography earlier, the same concept applies here. Using CleverBooks Space app, you can facilitate lessons to teach students about solar system, where they can explore different planets and space. You can also teach them rocket science, and students would be able to learn about different types of rockets and read about this information. You can also click on this icon, rocket icon, and see that there are multiple rockets available for exploration. At the same time, students can assemble their own rockets using the rocket puzzle. As you can see, you can manipulate and build in once they've learned about the information of different rockets. Once they finish assembling the rocket and everything is correct, they can launch this rocket into space. And either by clicking here, or they can also click it off the main menu. And you can see that they can choose a different mission, where they would like the rocket to go, and start the launch. So they can explore better the whole process of a rocket building, and also what happens once the rocket launches into space. As you can see, rocket launch is right here as well for students who want to immediately go in choosing different rocket, first of all, the one that they want to launch, and then also choosing the mission that they want to send the rocket to. So now let's go to another application. Let's explore the creative mode of Augmented Classroom. So once you're ready to facilitate activities related to create mode, where students can create and co-create different projects, you can launch the application and you will see a dashboard, my projects, or shared projects. Shared projects is when you already have assigned multiple projects for different group of students, and then you can see which project you assigned. You can also change the language as we discussed, and you can interact and have students interact with this application either on mobile or in a web-based interface. So for the mobile version, your students would have to download IRC Create app and launch that to interact. And in this case, they will just need to have the application. I would like to emphasize that Create application is a marker-less solution, meaning that students do not need to have a marker to point the camera of their devices to start augmented reality, to have experience of the augmented reality. And the augmented reality will automatically appear in front of them. So now let's try to see which projects you can create or assign to students for creative. Once you click on plus, I already have multiple projects right here that I facilitated, but you can click on the plus and you can see that there would be a selection of different landscapes related to different topics that you can choose from to facilitate the lesson. Once you click on the specific landscape, you need to create the project name. Sometimes you might divide your students into different groups and assign the specific projects, let's say for a group of 4 or 5 students. And sometimes you would want to create an individual project for every student for their solo creation. So just to make sure that you can find those projects later on, you can create the project name. We can take the Christmas project as an example, and you can see that once I have created it, it appears in my teacher screen. It's only the landscape, and the students would be able to choose from the catalog of 3D objects, any objects they would like, and then start creating their own environments. So it's quite simple to use left click of the mouse to go up and forwards and backwards, to use the right click of the mouse to rotate 360 degrees, and then the middle part to zoom in, zoom out. So now, for you to share those projects with students, you need to click on Settings and you will see a Share option. The concept is exactly the same. If the students are using mobile application, they would need to launch the application and input those 5-digit codes. And if you would like your students to create using the web browser on their laptop, Chromebook, or personal computers, you can click on Copy the link, share the link with students, and they will be able to join in the class. You can also invite your students by using the email, and they will get the notification the project has been assigned to them to work. So once the student has joined your activity, I just copy paste the link, the share link in the another web browser, so you can see both screens, the teacher screen and the student screen. And now my students can join and start interacting with the environment as well. And you can see that as a teacher, I see everything that is happening in the student screen if I want to be part of that project. And the same thing, once I put any 3D object, the student also sees that I've been interacting and co-creating the environment. So obviously, using Create Mode gives you a great opportunity in terms of what kind of lessons to facilitate, and also what kind of topics you can cover using this interactive approach. Then we move further to the next application, which is 3D blocks. Let me share the whole screen. And as you can see, it's just one of the gamified activities where students can use their knowledge of traditional Tetris aspects, but they can actually perform this in a 3D learning environment. And this is something that they can work with as a single user. Another application that has a very wide use for students is where they can actually upload any 3D models, their own, and view that using this application 3D viewer. So they can zoom in, zoom out. They could be used from a selection of our library of objects, or could upload any other objects from your own library. So some of the functionalities that you can see here, you can open the model from your device. You can also export the model, or you can share the model with anyone else by just copying the link. And last but not least, one of the most exciting activities that we currently have, it's AR Quest. There is a mini video available here on how to create your own quest, and also how students will be interacting with it. So for you to create your own quest, you just need to click on the create, and you would be able to create any quiz in any language. And you can make a decision if you want to keep it public. So it will be in the open library of public quests, available for any other educator who would like to facilitate lessons. Or if you want to keep it private and just use it with your students. So you can create the subject of your quiz and quest, put all the requirements, and start adding the questions. I'm going to show you how some of the public quests that we currently have look like, and you can better understand how you can teach students with it. So, for example, STEM animal group is one of the quests that we have, and you can see that there are a list of questions assigned to students, and you also in the system mark the correct options. Then for every question, you pick up a 3D model that will be assigned for the specific questions. Once you created the quest, you can launch the application IRC Quest, and this tool works only on mobile devices. So there's no web-based interface to interact with it, because the main concept here is that once students join the activity, join the assigned quest, they would have to use their mobile devices to look around themselves 360 degrees and try to find the 3D object that would appear somewhere in front of them. Once they see the object, they can click on it, and by clicking on it, the quiz will appear. So you can see that I searched for bear. Once I found the bear, I click on it, and then the question will pop up: where do brown bears live? So the students have the opportunity to actually answer, and they would also see if it's a correct, incorrect answer, etc. So with this tool, you can create any quizzes and for any type of subjects, and provide this interactive environment for students, where they don't just sit at the desk, but they can move inside of the classroom, outside, they can do it at home. So it's a geo-based activity using augmented reality, where they just look around themselves and find those 3D objects. If you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to us, but there is quite comprehensive instructions in terms of how you can facilitate this activity and create your own quizzes. So this wraps up almost all the opportunities that you have as part of Augmented Classroom. There are some new exciting things coming up in the next couple of months. So keep up to date and see how you can use that in your class within the 14-day trial account, or if you would like to start using Augmented Classroom on permanent basis as part of the solution for your school, for your class. class, you're very welcome to reach out to us. We would be able to provide you with a training for all your team and answer all your questions and help you out to find a better opportunity on the number of license for students that you need specifically for your case. You're very welcome to learn about pricing model under subscription, and there is a comprehensive also video to guide you through the payment options. You're either welcome to reach out to us for an individual invoice, or you also can conduct online payments if that applies to you. So have fun exploring Augmented Classroom. Reach us out if you have any questions, and we would be absolutely delighted to hear your feedback and also suggestions, what kind of topics, activities you would like to have as part of augmented reality experience that would help you teach more efficiently your students and engage them in class.